Hello there everyone and welcome back to Void Wolf Studios. Plans kind of went awry a bit this week. I was hoping to be a bit more ahead of schedule, but here we are. So I'm going to do my best to try and get back on track. And I promised that Warhammer Wednesday would be a Morathi video. Mostly we're going to focus on her Age of Sigmar incarnation of Morathi, as she has made some quite interesting power plays lately, which are undoubtedly going to bite her in the rear, because that sort of tends to happen to poor old Morathi. You know, she's undeservingly always getting mistreated by everything around her, and has never done anything, or to anyone, to deserve such mistreatment. Anywho, Morathi in the Age of Sigmar incarnation is evolved creature compared to what she was in Warhammer Fantasy. Now, don't take me to mean that I didn't think Morathi was in any way complex or evolved back in Warhammer Fantasy. It's more that she already had pretty big plans for herself. She always wanted to rule over everything, but the difference now is she's gone from thinking about it in a mortal sense to a, well, god. She has basically managed to trick everyone around her into believing she is not as bad as she actually is. Those who do know how bad she is don't tend to live very long, or at the very least are unconcerned with her actual morality. And this is why we are now in a situation where Slaanesh is manifesting and is going to become a full-blown chaos god again, which I'm really looking forward to, by the way, because the new Slaanesh stuff coming out is awesome, led by good old Sigvold, who is one of the most hilarious, ridiculous villains in Warhammer Fantasy, and I'm looking forward to seeing him in Age of Sigmar and what kind of antics he gets up to next. But yeah, this, in conjunction with her plan, has made her now into the god that she wanted to be. She is now essentially the new goddess of murder, or whatever she wants to call herself now. And because she has fanatically loyal followers, she's gonna have an interesting time, and she's ruffling a lot of feathers in the process. So it's gonna be interesting to see how GW figure out what's gonna happen next, although I presume they already have. But my prediction is that there's gonna be a bit of a tussle between Morathi and Slaanesh, because Khaine and Slaanesh have a bit of a history, so I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes next. But anyway, this is a video predominantly about her Age of Sigmar incarnation, and that means her model in Age of Sigmar, and the cool abilities that come with it. And thanks to her new funky level of power, you can use both of her models in a single game. Whereas before the Morathi book came out, you could only use one of either of these incarnations. Now you can have both of them running amok on the board at the same time, which is all kinds of ridiculous, good God gracious gravy levels of pain, as one of these incarnations is bad enough. But let's have a look at her more demure form compared to her giant snake queen, the High Oracle of Khaine, as it's currently stated in the Daughters of Khaine book. Now, as I don't have the new Morathi book to hand, I'm gonna assume that the stats here remain pretty much the same. GW haven't stated anything's changed beyond the fact that you can use both these models in the game at the same time. Everything should still be more or less the same. She has 6 movement, 6 wounds, a 9 bravery, 4+ save. Not bad at all in the slightest. She has Heartrender, that wonderful, wonderful spear of hers, which is a 2-inch range, 3 attacks that hit and wound on 3s with -1 rend and d3 damage. And her Bladed Wings have 6 attacks, again hitting and wounding on 3s with -1 rend, this time with 1 damage. So already she's a bit of a close combat monster, but that's not where she shines. She shines because of the abilities that she has. First and foremost, she has the Iron Heart of Khaine. The High Oracle of Morathi cannot be healed, but no more than 3 wounds can be allocated to her in any one turn. Any additional wounds or mortal wounds allocated to her are negated and have no effect. So, whilst you can't heal her, she also doesn't give the slightest monkeys how many wounds she takes, because she can only ever suffer a maximum of 3 a turn. So yeah, that's going to make sure she stays in the fight a little bit longer. Supreme Sorceress, meaning she gets to add 1 to casting and unbinding spells, and in addition, you double the range of all spells that she attempts to cast, and she has Enchanting Beauty, something Morathi has always used to her advantage in one way or another, in which you subtract 1 from all hit rolls that target Morathi, so this includes ranged attacks as well as melee. Her magical capacity, as she is of course a wizard, means that she can cast the Arcane Bolt, Mystic Shield, but she also has the Arnisipel Black Horror spell. And what this is a roiling black cloud of energy that swirls into existence, and smoky tendrils from the said cloud lash out and clutch at enemies nearby. Cast on a 7, if successful, you pick an enemy unit within 18 inches, so long as they're visible to the caster, and then you roll a dice. On a 1, that unit suffers a single mortal wound. 2 to 3, D3 mortal wounds, and on a 4+, D6 mortal wounds are suffered to the unit. That's not half bad a spell, especially as it's only cast on a 7, which for Morathi, especially as she gets the +1 to casting, should be pretty easy for her. And she also has her own command ability, because of course she's a hero, and she is of course the goddess of your army. Worship through bloodshed. If Morathi is your general, you can use this ability. You pick 2 friendly Daughters of Khaine units within 14 inches. These units immediately shoot as if it were the shooting phase. Or, if either unit is within 3 inches of an enemy, it can instead choose to pile in and attack as though it were the combat phase. Bearing in mind this ability takes effect during your hero phase, meaning you basically get to attack twice, potentially 3 times with the right combination of abilities. So yeah, that's all kinds of ridiculousness. And finally, the final 2 abilities, Monstrous Transformation and Truth Revealed. Neither of these 2 abilities probably apply anymore, as the Truth Revealed is when Morathi gets wounded, there's a chance she transforms into the Shadow Queen, and the Monstrous Transformation is you choosing to transform into the Shadow Queen. And speaking of which, let's go to her Shadow Queen transformation. Because now you not only have Morathi, the competent wizard, on the battlefield, you have Morathi, the oh dear god, she's going to murder us all, on the battlefield. 12 wounds, 9 bravery, 4+ save, and when unwounded has a movement of 14 inches, a very respectable distance. She now has a missile weapon, the Gaze of Morathi, which is a 6-inch range, a single attack that hits on a 2, and you roll a dice. If the result exceeds that model's wound characteristic, it is killed. So yeah, against a single model, if you hit on that 2+, it's going to die. It just doesn't matter. But there's also a chance that you can kill lots of low-level characters just by staring at them. That's pretty terrifying already. And then in melee, she has her wonderful Heartrender, which has 6 attacks now, which hits and wounds on 3s with -2 rend and 3 damage a pop, because, you know, her Shadow Queen form is so much more powerful when it comes to physical combat. She has a Crown of Serpents, those wonderful biting snakes, that have 5 attacks that hit and wound on 3s and 1 damage apiece. And finally, the Envenomed Tail, the lovely barbed spike that she has on the end of her tail. 3-inch range for that one. It's a single attack. It hits on a 3 and wounds on 3, -2 rend, and it does 6 damage. A flat 6 damage when she's unwounded. Yeah, even before I start getting into the magic and special abilities, she's frickin' terrifying. The High Oracle was bad enough, but her Shadow Queen form is infinitely more dangerous in close combat. She can fly, of course, because she has those wonderful wings. And she still has access to that wonderful Iron Heart, meaning that she can only take a max of 3 wounds a turn. And she still has access to all her spells. Yeah. So she can still cast that wonderful Black Horror spell, causing those lovely mortal wounds, as well as the Arcane Bolt and Mystic Shield. Frankly, the only thing she loses is the command ability, which, you know, when you're going hell for leather and you just want to murder everything in front of you, that's a fair trade-off, in my opinion. So, yeah, Morathi is more than deserving of being a very, very dangerous combatant on the tabletop, and she's getting all that bit closer towards her goal of becoming the new goddess of murder. Only time will tell to see if this will work out for her, but I personally doubt it. I'm strongly looking forward to a rematch between Khaine and Slaanesh, because I think Slaanesh has some words that it wants to have with Morathi. But you never know, Morathi might even be able to kill Sanesh? Unlikely, but maybe at the very least make it retreat. Who knows? It could be a very interesting fight. Hell, maybe Sigvald is going to be her first opponent. That could be fun. Anywho, thank you all very much. I'm sorry for the delay to this video. Like I said, life kind of just gets in the way. But I look forward to giving you a little bonus video before Christmas, and with any luck, I'm going to be able to make a little bonus content for you after Christmas. So anyway, hope you have a wonderful Christmas wherever you are. Happy holidays, and I will hope to hear from you all soon. Take care, everyone.